seldom selam.
Good morning, good morning. I'm Dr. Paul. Welcome to the Healthy Mind Morning Show. I am just trying to get things all straightened up here. Welcome on Instagram, welcome on Facebook, welcome on YouTube Live. So we're going to go over to this week. We're going to go over the emotional body. So we talked about this last week. I mentioned the things that we're going to do today. If you missed yesterday, I apologize. Was not feeling well, so I'm glad I am up to par. Just a little couple of health things I had to take care of, so I apologize for that. Some of you have asked. There was no show yesterday, but there was like a rerun or something like that. I posted like a comment I had on who I interviewed with just Tuhan Rommel. But we're going to go to the emotional body. So that's what we're going to go over this week. We're going to go over the emotional body. So what is the emotional body? The emotional body is the body that holds the code to our emotional feelings. So it holds the code to our emotional feelings, and the reason why that is because even if we try to stay conscious, we have a tendency to fall back into unhealthy things that we normally do, right? So how do we continue to keep doing that if we don't even understand that it's causing that? So that's what we're going to go around this week. And the first thing I can think of is loneliness. You know, loneliness So when we're talking about the emotional body, we know that the body holds different processes in our minds. We know that the code of the things that we are holding, because I was talking about last week and before when we talk about consciousness, right? When we talk about consciousness, that is where we lose track of what we're really referring to is what is consciousness. So now, but when we're talking about the emotional body, we're actually referring to a lot of the subconscious. So we talked about consciousness and what consciousness is, and it's an experience and understanding your experience if you awaken. But subconsciousness, someone had said that is subconscious, is it unimportant compared to consciousness? Actually, no. Subconsciousness is something that is amazing for us. But if you don't understand where your subconscious gets its information from or how it's processing things, that's the bad thing. But it goes back into know thyself. You have to know yourself. You have to know yourself for even to understand the emotional body. And that's why in the healthy mind, the mind is the understander, right? Remember, the brain is it's a processor and a server. It's a producer, right? It can get programmed. The emotional mind is the one that helps you understand all things that it's in your body. That's what the healthy mind does. So this week we're going to talk about the emotional body, and today we're going to just touch on some loneliness. And loneliness, what do you think loneliness happens in the body? I think I almost gave it away, but it's in the. So if you do our emotional body guy, our emotional body guy, you will start to understand that our emotions are trapped inside different parts of our body. Now, we have certain points that we know as far as what you call centers or energy centers that's in our body. So we have different energy centers in our body. Those red circles are what you call energy centers. Now, of course, now we start to get in what you call meridian lines. There are 12 major meridian lines in the body. 12 because it comes off of the nervous system, and so now we're going to end up talking about the spine. So when we talk about loneliness, loneliness is it's almost, someone will always tell you that loneliness, and it's around, it's where your heart is. So then you have energy centers. Then you have places where emotion starts to get trapped. So you have red circles on this board, if you can see it, and you have black circles. So if I just darken in the some part of the trapping that's held inside the body, I would darken these spots. So with these emotional, when you come to, that's actually overlapping up there. When you come to, and there's more block centers. So you have the red circles are emotional centers. Then you have the black circles where emotions can be stored in the body for reproduction. So in loneliness, loneliness is held in the heart area. Well, then you know you have the heart chakra or heart energy center. So if we want to just take out all this, because I'm going to leave that up there a little bit, and we'll keep referring back to the emotional body here, right? Because the emotional body. So why do we hold things in the emotional body, even if we say our consciousness, we are awake? Okay, the emotional body is done in subconscious. The subconscious is what controls the emotional body. The only way to change how the emotional body is holding the storage is to remain consciousness in the emotional body. Did I lose you? I wonder if that makes sense to you. Okay, so let me give you a for instance. We're not going to change our history. That's not happening. And changing our history is not what we're looking to do. When you have the healthy mind, you're trying to understand your history. You start to understand the process of where your historical development has come from, right? Understanding how you can change it through the practice, training, and sharing and having faith, right? Because those are simply three things that would help you change your healthy mind into an unhealthy mind into a healthy mind. Is to know yourself, understand yourself, and teach yourself, right? Through information, not just this is what you're going to do, this is what you have to do. That is not part of the healthy mind. That's part of the survival mind. So when we talk about loneliness, and then we'll talk about the frequencies of loneliness, because all feelings have a vibration. All feelings have vibration. So we talked about that. Yeah, absolutely. All things have vibration. The emotional body is processed off of the vibration and frequency and waveform of subconsciousness. Okay, so loneliness. If you were at one time in your youthful life afraid to being alone, or was taught that loneliness was not, being alone was not a good thing, somehow you got scared, somehow you've gotten misplaced. I remember being a young boy. We were going to school. I was going to school in the Bronx, and it was a Catholic school. And anyway, in short, we used to take public transportation to the school. Well, I was waiting for my brother, and we get off of major transit, take the city bus to the school, got dropped off, go to school, and I went to school. A lot of family, cousins. That was great. St. Mary's. Whoop. Well, I was supposed to wait for my brother, but my brother got back on the bus, and I didn't know that. What was it, probably 7 at the time, and well, I got left, and there's a bodega shop that was nearby. I went into the bodega shop. They knew me because all the families went anyway. So every time that scared me. That was a scary moment, being down in near the school, because the school had closed up. There was no one around. I was walking around. I remember that loneliness, that fear. It triggers back to being alone, to that moment. Obviously, I was found later, but what I'm saying is, at 7 and being over 50 plus now, 53, if I'm lonely, I can remember that just like if it was yesterday, because it was such a traumatic experience. So loneliness is a vibration. The emotional body is a subconscious feeling of how you felt then when it all started. Even if I remain consciousness, meaning awake, do I still feel loneliness? Yes, because loneliness is happening. I don't carry it with me, because we can talk about carrying baggages with us, right? We could talk about how we shouldn't relive the past. True. Understanding your past is different than reliving your past. The emotional body, feeling it inside your body and where it's being felt, helps you understand what is being triggered. Being consciously awake, you understand where it started from. The emotional body is a subconscious action, vibration, frequency, code. It helps you know where it's triggering the body, how it's affecting the emotional body. Consciousness helps you understand where it started from and understand that. Does that make sense? Because we're not trying to get rid of the subconscious. It's going to run. Why? Because it's data, right? Like a computer. There's stuff running in the background. You know, when I was talking about last week or the week before, we talk about how the body or the rational mind or the wise mind or the emotional mind, right? How things run in the brain. Well, in the body stores information. How you felt about something, how you were about something, what triggered the trauma, all what that is. The subconscious is reading the vibration, is actually causing the vibration and the frequency. That's what the subconscious does. The only way to change the information about how it's going to vibrate is through being a consciously aware, healthy mind. But the subconscious is never going away. You're never going to eradicate the subconsciousness. That's not going to happen. So don't even think you want something to be erased, because subconsciousness helps us. How does it help us? How does it help us? Well, it helps us in two forms. It helps us to minimize our workload. Why? Because if I tie my shoe, my subconscious knows how to tie my shoe. I don't have to think how to tie my shoe. But Dr. Paul, you say be present. Yes, being present and understanding that I am tying my shoe. The conscious doesn't, being consciousness and awake of the now does not do. The subconscious is do, the consciousness understands. Yeah. I know it. I know it. I feel it in my bones. Okay. Consciousness is now awake, present, right? I don't need to really do much more than that. Subconscious, past information, frequency, vibration. Information, sub meaning before, right? No subconscious, let's get that straight. I don't want to say anything that doesn't make any sense. Subconscious cannot predict. Consciousness can visualize, forward, right? So you have the subconscious doing that, and you have the consciousness going backwards. The consciousness is now awake of being now and can visualize forward. Subconscious is past information, frequency, vibration of the emotional body. That's how you get what's stuck inside the body. Loneliness, talking about loneliness, right? When I was left as a kid, or left, didn't do what I was supposed to do, whatever how you look at it, probably more or less I didn't do what I was supposed to do. But loneliness is a vibration of the past information, of what happened to me way back then. It creates a frequency vibration, so it triggers the chemical body, right? Remember, the body is a chemical plant for you. That's what your brain starts triggering chemical reactions. Body. Now, in loneliness, the subconscious, or the trigger point for loneliness is right here in the heart area, along with other joys and happiness. Frequency, we'll talk about loneliness as frequency tomorrow. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I know we're running on. I try to keep this about 20 minutes, just so we can talk with each other every morning. Get us through the healthy mind. We're going to be talking about the emotional body. Today we touched on loneliness and the vibration. Consciousness is now and awake and visualizing forward. Subconscious is past information, frequency, and vibration, all what's in the past, right? Because if you are feeling ill, once you tap into, that's why tapping techniques work. Especially when your subconscious is flowing so difficult. You have different tapping techniques. Because you can, so real quick, how do you tap away loneliness? Right here in the heart, right here. There's these two center right here. You just tap. It releases a little blockage. You still have to understand what's being released. So even all these techniques, breathing techniques, exercise techniques, qigong, whatever techniques you use to move energy about, if you don't know where loneliness is being trapped, and once you release it, it is toxic through the body. So if it's going to run its course out, and you're not knowing that you're moving it, you can end up moving it into a bad spot. You can end up moving into your kidneys. You can end up moving into different center structures, center points in the body, that's going to cause sickness and ailments. Oh, I guess I'm having some interruption in the broadcast. Well, I hope you guys will replay it later. You can always catch it on my YouTube channel, Dr. Paul Dyer Grandmaster, and you can see and relive that channel there. So, Don't want to take up too much of your time. Again, God bless you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay active. Do your meditation, do your exercises, and keep your faith. Okay? If you have any questions, always inbox me anytime you want, and we'll keep going with this all week long. God bless.